Number two, how do you make your family a priority? Number two is the word quality. Number one is time. Number two is quality. How can you make your home a place of quality? Here's how you do it. First thing is this, is make your home a place of fun. Make it a fun place. Ecclesiastes 9:9 says this, enjoy life with your wife, whom you love. Enjoy life with your family, with whom you love. And Psalm 127, verse 3 says this, children are a gift from the Lord. They are a reward from Him. How happy is the man whose quiver is full of them. Children, how happy you are blessed with them. Make your home a place of fun. A few years back, we've got 3 kids, but this was back a few years ago, we only had 1. And I remember, I don't know what was going on at work, but I was just a little bit down and I was really stressed out and life was crazy. And I remember coming home and I was just a little bit on the depressed side and I couldn't leave work at work. I brought it with me and I came home and I'd sit down on the couch and I couldn't focus on my wife, I couldn't focus on my son, and it was just not going well. And I'm like, man, I'm just down. And I was sitting there in the living room, and Christian, he was very young at the time, he had in a CD of some music that was really fast, and it was kind of real dancing, and it was real fun. And he just started just jumping around the living room, just dancing around. And I sat there and looked at him, and I was just down. And I don't know what happened with him, but something rose up. I jumped up off of that couch, and I started dancing around with him. And first it was kind of, I'm not going to do it because that would be really embarrassing. But first I kind of started doing a little bit. And then, before long, we were running around that room to that music. And we turned the thing up, and we were having the time of our life. And I forgot all about the stress of the day. And I'm like, man, this is the way it needs to be. And I decided from that moment on, I want my home to be a place where we can dance in the living room. Make your home fun. Because see, whenever your children get older, you want it to be the house where they say, hey guys, let's go to my house. That's where it's happening. You don't want them to be saying, oh, let's not go over there. Okay? Make your home a place where it's fun. Here's the second thing you got to do right here for quality. Make your home a place of healing. Isaiah 32 and verse 17 says this, the fruit of righteousness will be peace. The effect of righteousness will be quietness and confidence forever. My people will live in peaceful dwelling places, in secure homes, in undisturbed places of rest. Though hail flattens the forest and the city is leveled completely. Your home needs to be a place of safety. It needs to be a refuge. It needs to be a place of openness, of realness, of peace. Make your home a place where there is no question that is unasked for. Make your home a place where there is no word that is undefinable. There's a game that we like to play called Taboo. Have you ever played the game where you have a little card and you're supposed to be describing a word or a thing to somebody, but you can't use the words that are on there? And you've only got like a minute to do it, and it's very hard. And those words are taboo. There's a lot of homes where there's a lot of words that cannot be spoken or said. It's taboo. Those are homes where there's secret, where there's quietness. And that is a place where there is not a place of healing. There needs to be the kind of openness that you can get to the things that you need to get to and be able to talk about the things that need to be talked about. Make your home more like a locker room than the playing field. See, the playing field is the real world out there. Make your home the locker room, the safe haven where people can be encouraged and pumped up. Here's how you need to be in your home. Be a lifeguard, not an umpire. Be a lifeguard, not an umpire. Do you know the difference? The umpire is just calling the shots. Yeah, this is how I see it. This is how I see it. A lifeguard is still discerning, is still assessing the situation, and maybe there's some wrong things, maybe there's some right things. A lifeguard still does that. But what they do is they are ready to jump in there and pull the person out and help. That is a totally different opposite thing. Totally opposite things. Be a lifeguard, not an umpire. Third thing for quality. Make your home a place of learning. Deuteronomy 11 and 18 says this about the ways of God. It says, teach the ways of God and the laws of God to your children. Talk about them when you sit at home and when you walk along the road, when you lie down and when you get up. Write them on the doorframes of your houses and on your gates. In Proverbs 22:8 says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. See, the home should be a place where people can learn, so whenever they go out of the doors, they can fly. I'm not just talking about with your kids, yes, with your kids, but also with the spouse, also with the people that are near you. Let it be a place to learn. And then the final thing on quality is this: make home a place for dreaming. Proverbs 29:18 says this: where there is no vision, the people perish. In the last 15 years, I've had the pleasure of working with a lot of young people, mainly like in the teenage years. And basically, I see two types of teenagers. And I've done it long enough where I've seen to where they are not teenagers anymore and starting into adulthood. And this is what I've seen. I've seen teenagers that negotiate that well, and I've seen teenagers that fail with it miserably. And what's the difference between those two types of people? Well, the ones that do well were the ones that had dreams. And the ones that don't do well were the ones that had no vision or no dream whatsoever. It is a huge, huge thing. Your home needs to be a place where it can be, hey, what if? Gosh, what if I did that? What if I could do it? What if this? And they're free to dream about it. It needs to be a place where that is encouraged, and a place where they can build confidence in that. Let me give you an example of the way it needs to be in that home. Do you remember years ago there was a movie called The Right Stuff, and it was about the start of America's space program. Does anybody remember that? It's been several years ago, and it was about back in the 50s when John Glenn and Chuck Yeager and all those guys were coming up, and there was one place. It was a little cantina at Edwards Air Force Base out in the middle of the desert, where all the pilots would go after a hard day's work, and they would hang out. And in this little place there were pictures that were all over the wall of the pilots that had done amazing things and they'd broken records. It was just filled with that. And they would go back there and they'd tell the stories. And they'd look at the pictures and they'd say, man, remember back then whenever so-and-so, man, he was the best pilot anybody had ever seen. It was a wall full of heroes. Think of your home that way. It needs to be a place where there is a wall full of heroes. I tell you, one of the things that my parents, I think, did better than anybody that I had ever seen is, man, we felt like a hero when we were in our home. I mean, there were pictures of us all over the place, of stuff that we had done. There were little drawings that we'd done in kindergarten that they still have to this day. And now you go in there and it's still there. If I ever feel bad, I just need to go to my parents' home and just walk around a little bit. And I feel like a hero. And now they're doing it with my kids as well. But I tell you what that does is that instills confidence in me to dream. Your home needs to be a place that does that. Let it be a place where they can go back and maybe they're going to be out in the world and it doesn't go well. And they feel like they're failing. But let the home be a place they can come back to where they can see the pictures and they can dream their dreams. And they can say, man, if there's any place in the world I feel like a hero here. And it builds their confidence and they can go out and they can do the thing. That's the way that your home needs to be. One last scripture and then we're going to close. Joshua 24:15 says this: but if serving the Lord seems undesirable to you, then choose for yourself this day who you will serve, whether the gods of your forefathers served beyond the river or the gods of the Amorites, in whose land you are now living. And here's the line right here: but as for me and my household, we will serve the Lord. That is a choice that you've got to make. Man, I want my family to rock. I want my home to rock. I want to go for it. I want to serve God. As for me and my home, we will serve the Lord. So getting back to the basics, what do? We do God first. We do family second. It's quite simple. We can do it. Could you guys just bow your heads? Close your eyes.